Hello and welcome to another edition of 5 Minute Features. Today we're going to be talking about a new Genie skill, which is called Import BI, which basically allows you to import your existing BI from either Power BI or Tableau into Databricks. It does so by converting the data model to Databricks metric views and then converting whatever dashboard you've built into a Databricks AI BI dashboard. I think the main use case for this is for people who've already built Power BI or Tableau on top of Databricks. So basically, where your data source is Databricks to get it back into the platform. So we're going to be taking a look at a simple Power BI model that I have designed for this very purpose. I am going to be trying to do a deep dive with a more advanced model later, but this is the simple model. It contains three tables that have some relations between them. I have a couple of visuals here, nothing major. And you can see I have a couple of different measures here that I would like it to transform. And that's about it, right? So I've purposefully kept it simple for you to see how it actually works. So what you're going to do is you're going to save this as a PBIT file, not a PBIX, a PBIT, and then you can upload that PBIT file to a volume. So that's what I've done here. So you'll see it here, pbi.pbit. In this, you see demo sample import. And we're going to be heading to this dashboard, and we're basically just going to be firing up a new Genie code over here. So I think you still have to stand in the dashboard experience. There are a couple of these things that are a little weird. It is a beta feature, so I imagine that those kind of things will change over time. But you have to basically write /import BI, and then you can say, then it's going to ask you whether or not you're doing a Tableau or Power BI. So we're just going to prepare and write Power BI. So which tool you want to migrate from? I want to migrate from Power BI, and then it's going to ask you for the path to the file, and then it's going to ask you for the schema and the catalog for where to store the metric views. It's also going to use those. Well, it also asks you for the source location. So it also asks you for where is your source data actually located. In my case, these are the same. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to copy the path. And I'm going to throw it there, and then I'm going to say UC demo for catalog. Catalog, and then I'm going to say sample for schema. And then it should start working. So what it does is it goes and opens the file and starts parsing it. And does that by utilizing this skill that it has. So both the data model and dashboard branches are active for this session. So it actually basically starts working in parallel on creating both of them. Small model, 3 tables, 4 measures, 2 relationships. Let me inventory everything in parallel. All right, partition details. So this is basically the model down here. You can see it notices that we're losing a pass through. So basically that we're using a direct query in this instant. It also notices the different measures. And you can see the relationships here. You can also see it notices there's no calculated columns. The M queries behind them refer directly to the Databricks catalog, so I haven't done any advanced M or anything like that. It notices that part. And then it reads the table structures, so it actually goes back on its own side of the fence, I guess you can call it that, onto Unity Catalog and reads the table structures just to make sure that it has interpreted the data structure correct on the Databricks side. Now once it's done, it's gonna just verify the latest version of the YAML syntax for metric views, and then it's gonna start working. On the other hand, it's searching through the visual layout, so it's basically trying to find all the different visuals that we have. So we have a card visual, a table X, clustered bar chart, and a pie chart. It takes the positions, it takes the width and size and these kind of things. And then I'm just going to hit pause for now, and then we're just going to return back once it's done thinking. All right, so we're back. Genie's made a plan. So level 1, source the SQL views. All 3 Power BI tables are bare Databricks catalogs with no M queries. It detects that there's some PII masking going on. The metric view inherits these masks. Mask users will still see the redacted values, so it notices that. Then it's going to create some metric views, level 2. So it's going to be creating a customers metrics and an employees metrics. So basically two metric views for my two different fact tables. I guess you could call them that. They're not quite that in this case, but that doesn't matter in this case. Then it notices the measures it needs to create. So it's just the username measure that I've done. It can't actually migrate that because that doesn't exist. Like this user principal name function doesn't exist inside of Databricks. Um, there is a workaround that you can do with a measure referencing your username, but it apparently doesn't notice that. The total lifetime value is a sum of the total lifetime value. It's migrating that. Then we have the total salary down here. That's also just a sum. And then the salary as a percentage of total. It's a divide between the two functions with an all wrapped around this total. And it's going to create that by referencing this measure up here. So it actually notices that this measure has been calculated already. That's pretty cool if you ask me. And then it's going to be using this any value as a percentage of total. It's going to be doing a dashboard page with these three visuals, and down here you can see where it's planning to place them. So basically it gives you a summary down here. I'm going to create two metric views. I'm going to override if they already exist. I'm going to add to the blank dashboard page, and then you can just reply go, and then it starts working. And we're going to return back in a second to see what it's done. All right, so we're back and we're done. We have a dashboard over here on our left-hand side. If you're good at remembering, you'll see this not exactly what we had. So basically, the visuals are not in the same places necessarily. That's mainly probably due to the fact that the Databricks AIB dashboard is grid-based. So there are a couple of limitations in that sense. You can see in the migration report here on what is created. So it hasn't created any SQL views that was necessary. It's created two metric views. One dashboard page is just called page one. It has summarized what is put on it. It's also summarized what it's skipped here, so what it hasn't done. Down here you can see the inline YAML of what it's created in the metric views. Everything is available here. I think one of the really cool things here is that it actually includes a comment on what it was translated from. So it actually includes the old DAX expression in the comment, so you can see where this came from. And then it summarizes a stakeholder action table down here. So basically it just summarizes a couple of things that is noticed that you should be aware of. So this is things that it hasn't been able to do. The user principal name we already talked about. It asks us to review the PII column masks just to make sure that these are still applicable. Actually, in this case, we're logged in as a different user, so that might be a little trippy, but it works as it's intended. Then it asks us to validate if it's done the salary as a percentage of total the right way. And then it also asks us to just verify the join cardinality just to make sure that it's done the join the correct way. So in no way or shape is this perfect. I think there's probably still a lot more to add here, and I'm really looking forward to the deep dive. Stay tuned for that if you wanna see a little bit more. But basically, this is a great way to get started. Can it convert everything? No, because there's a couple of chart options that doesn't exist across the two different platforms. But I think the cool thing is that it's quite aware of what it can and can't do, and actually gives us a very good summary of that. It took about 10 minutes in total to do this, so it's not super duper fast in any way, but it also works very independently. So basically, it does the entire plan, tells you that, and then all you have to do is press go, and then it starts actually doing whatever it's supposed to do. So this was the import BI skill. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than a 5-minute feature. Bear with me here. There was a lot to unpack. And then I hope to see you all for the deep dive version that I'm going to be posting fairly soon. Have a nice day.